So I'm trying to think if I may have done this illustration first and then this one. I can't remember the sequence, but it was this one I loved. But again, the challenge is with each thing for me was the dimension and the perspective, and when you're really looking at a piece and trying to gauge it just this one really challenged me. But she was to be sitting atop a little suitcase, and there was a little bed for the mouse. There was another straw hat, another little piece of luggage, and she was packing for Paris in her dreams. So, and the little buckles and the corners, the brass, every little aspect of it. Again, as you're growing as an artist and being self-taught, and the vision comes to your mind and your head, and then you're arranging these little figures and you think, oh, now I've got to paint that. How does that translate onto an illustration? So I was very pleased with this as well, both of these, and I loved the color palette. So it was very soothing, and so that's Lula Kate meets Eliza. So this was one of the newest characters. At the time I received her, and it was such a challenge to paint these Blythe dolls. And so it took a lot of practice. But when I had completed this painting, I was so tickled and so proud of myself for conquering the shape of the face, the eye chips, the gaze. What I was most proud of were those little tiny shoes and the shadows and the angle of how her feet were. This was like, each project grows me. And in each project, each book that I produce, there's generally one illustration that is like, that's the one that grew me. That's the one that challenged me. And I believe this would be it. And it was mainly the shoes, but there was all this work in the little dress, the eyelet, and her eye chips, and her hair. Her hair was, it was so different, and the texture of it, and the little fuzzy ringlets, and just capturing that all. I was really, really pleased with this piece, with this illustration. The little breakfast had blueberries and eggs and shredded cheese. A teacup on her little lunchbox. It was by the fountain with the ivy. But I love that picnic basket. But it was really hard with the handles and trying to get the perspective right. That's the thing that each project has grown me on, Ben, is dimensions and to Ben for the little house, pink house. And doing the tatting, and then the feather stitch. And when you've stitched something, then you're more aware, and you have to get it right when you paint it, because you've actually stitched it. So here's the first painting of Really Old Bear, and I was able to get her slipper in, because I was going to paint her, and then after we gave her shoes, I had to go back and paint the little her little shoe. And then that's the little carriage that I have in that log cabin. That's when she had her original tiara that went missing in the Garden District in New Orleans. This was, so this was how they were neighbors, the neighbors to the dollhouse. So the dolls lived here with Eliza, and then the bear neighbors. So there was Baby Doll Bear and Really Old Bear. Oh, this one I just love, because it was really a study on her watercolor eyes. Because when you realize that an artist painted everything, you think, oh, you want to do justice to the work the artist did. So they painted all the little flecks in the eyes. just grew and grew. And then how do you do this kind of, it was a doily, and then how do you do this, all the different stitches and the button, and that was tedious. And so I guess the illustrations that I started with, I would do quick, and then the more I learned and grew in technique, then it took more time, and then that's where people say, you must be so patient. I'm like, I have no patience. It's hard for me to be patient. I want to get it done fast, but I had to really slow down and look at things and then try to recreate it. And it was really hard doing a crown. Like, how do you make something sparkle that's silver and shiny? And so finding the Payne's gray to work with it. It's a lot. And I'm glad now that I got the gate. I thought we'd always be there and always have that gate, but to have that saved. So that's when I transitioned from outlining everything with the rapidograph pen and ink, and then not outlining things.